Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video we're going to be stripping down a Hyundai petrol engine. I think it's a 1.2 or a 1.4. So basically it's had 2 oil changes and it's done around 65,000 or 70,000 miles. So yeah, we're just going to get into it really. So as you can see, I'm taking all the ancillaries off, so like the water pump, the inlet manifold, the alternator and things like that, water pipes. So let's start stripping all them bits down. So I just took the wiring loom off there with a starter motor. So this is basically a scrap engine. So we're just going to strip it down to see what's salvageable, if there is anything salvageable in it. The timing chain had jumped on there. My suspicions are the chain tensioner has just give up. So just getting that off there. So that's the alternator off. So I'm just having a little look to drain the oil. So I'm now just taking the water pipes and the throttle body and stuff off the engine. So I've just got an extension bar in here just to reach down because the bottom bolts are quite sort of recessed. So I have a little bit of a jiggle, that comes off. So I'm now just getting the water pipe off. So that's a bit stuck in there just on the O-ring rubber. So that's that off. So I like to keep a couple of different pots basically. So I'll keep one pot for all of the ancillary bolts, which are what we're taking off now. And if I can leave some bolts in things like inlet manifold and stuff like that, then I'll leave them in it. And then I like to get another like basket or bowl just to put all the internal bolts in. So like the timing cover bolts, the sump bolts, cylinder head bolts, all that sort of stuff really, just to keep it all organised. So then if you was to then rebuild it, you can put all the bolts for one section of building the engine together all in, and then obviously when you come to put the ancillaries on to build the engine up, you can then obviously, you know, then bolts after that. So I'm just taking a few of the front timing cover bolts out now. The oil was actually very jellified as well in the engine. So that's under that front crank bolt. So that's the pulley off. So now I turn the engine over. So now that's done, we can start taking the sump cover off. So they've got like a silicone sealant around the sump. So basically I'll just get something just to go in between there. So I've got like a thin scraper which I just normally tap in underneath. Once that starts to go, that normally just lift all the way around. So yeah, as you can see, it's a bit gunky in there. For a petrol engine anyway, it's quite sort of dirty inside. I'm now taking the pickup pipe off for the oil pump. So it's about 10 o'clock at night, so I'm just wanting to not get as, you know, covered in oil as needed. So I've put some gloves on for this bit. So the strainer actually wasn't blocked on, I think, which was a good sign. So I'm now going to take the lower part of the engine like splash guard off, so we're just stripping that down. I think they were 12mm or 14mm bolts that were in there, and the front timing cover were 10s and 12s. So now the front timing cover is on 2 dowel pins. They're like a steel dowel pin. Obviously steel in alley doesn't really go well, so I've just got a rubber hammer here. I'm just going to give it a tap with, just try and break the seal. They do have like a sealant around them as well, so they just seem to stick on quite well, but a bit of perseverance, that soon comes off. So I'm just having a little inspection. There's a lot of play in the timing chain. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the chain tensioner, which runs on oil pressure. So yeah, just in there, it's quite thick and gloopy. The chain tensioner had come right out, so I reckon where it hasn't had well maintained sort of oil changes and stuff, that the chain's worn a lot quicker than what it should have, meaning the tensioner has come out to its full capacity basically, and that's what's caused the chain to jump. So I'm just removing the chain there and the guides. Just checking the links there to see if there's any play in the actual chain itself. So that's the rocker cover gasket off as well. That had sort of gone like a hard plastic instead of a rubber sort of consistency. So again, down to poor maintenance. Rubber does deteriorate over time, but you know, this engine's only maybe 4 or 5 years old. So I'm now wanting to get a socket in to do the head bolts, but unfortunately the oil has gone so caked, it's gone like a hard sort of jelly consistency around all the head bolts, so I've just put a bit of brake cleaner in there to wash it down with a brush. So to gain access as well to the head bolts, you've got to remove the cams. So what I've done is I've cleared a bit of space on the bench there. I'm now taking the cam cap bolts off, and keeping them in order, where they go, what way round they go, because every cam cap has basically the same place it has to go on in the cylinder head, because they're put in and obviously all made to the size. So with doing this, I can lay them all out on the bench. I can lay the cams next to them, so I know how it's all set up, so if it was to go back together, then we know where the things have got to go. Sometimes as well on the caps they're numbered, so inlet exhaust and stuff like that, from like 1 to 6 or 1 to 5. So with them out now, I can find a socket to fit it. So I've now found a socket there, so I've just got the gun just to undo the head bolts. So a bit of a wiggle there, the cylinder head's off. So I'm just checking the bores on the top of the pistons, see if there's any internal damage. Everything seems to look okay. Just checking the head. The actual head as well was basically scrap, where it had oil starvation on the cam caps and the cylinder head side as well. They'd sort of gone a bit oval and they were quite deeply scored. So I reckon, you know, you're going to lose a bit of oil pressure out of there. where it's had a lack of oil getting round as well. It's not done the engine any good really. So obviously I lost a bit of footage there, but as you can see I've got the crank out now, and that most probably mic up to spec, but that's more the bearing that's stuck to it, where the bearing's just started to break up. So if you have a little look at the bearing shell there, you can just see that the metal's starting to break up. So you'd most probably get away with the crank, you'd most probably polish it up and that would be fine. Once you mic it up to spec, make sure it's in with tolerance. But so none of the bearings have actually spun, but as you can see they are really starting to break up. Some of them are okay. So there's quite a deep score through there. But yeah, what I'll do if we were to rebuild it is I'd obviously get it polished up, and then get it mic'd up to see what the tolerances are.